It can be done, however.
So we'd have to create one, is that what you're saying?
No, we would have to do it. It would place the burden on the applicant to go out and get a new contract signed by all members of that existing Williamson Act contract.
Thank you.
Supervisor Pinchas.
I'd like to ask Mr. Barrett his comments on this, what he is.
I was just about to do that, Supervisor. I appreciate your prompting.
He knows more about land use planning than all of us combined.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Jim Barrett.
And in 2 meetings, you can call on anybody you want.
Jim
Mr.
Barrett, I'm agent for the applicant. In this case, it's Anderson Vineyards. And for those of you that don't know Anderson Vineyards, they are Roeder Estate, Schaffenberger, and probably one of the largest growers of vineyard and production in Anderson Valley. As Mr. Lynch has indicated, we have done nothing basically to our agricultural preserve process to make it come into more conformance with the actual Williamson Act as it is today since 1969, whenever we started entering into the agricultural program, agricultural preserve program. Where we have the issue with this new recommendation, and I think it's only a recommendation, I don't think this is something that the state says, this is law. I think that what they're looking at, the Department of Conservation, is a recommendation for the county to take this avenue. I'm not sure that they understand all of the finite things that are involved in our program to begin with, and so it's easy to make a recommendation that we can't get from here to there at catch-22. As an example, this recommendation would require us, in this particular application, and there's others pending that are even more involved, it would require us to go to the now owner, the other owner in this agricultural preserve, and tell them you have to cancel the contract that you have now, go through the process of re-entering, signing a new contract on that particular piece of property. What advantage is this to somebody that's in there, and why would they want to do this? The Lucier project, which we're not going to talk about, but that is a number of owners, and I already know, because of contact with them, that Lee Persico isn't going to redo his contract. I have another one we've worked on that hasn't come before you yet, but it is an ag preserve that has over 15 different ownerships in it now, which would require one piece of property to go out and get convince 15 people to cancel their contract, or rescind, not cancel, rescind their contract, and then bring in a new contract. Can you imagine what that would involve? Attorneys getting involved, time constraints, and everything else. And what's happened is that this has happened to us in the last month or so since we've been this year's crop of agricultural preserve applications, this recommendation from the state. Now, as I read the section that the state has quoted, my thought, I'm not an attorney, but as a layperson, I think it may not necessarily apply to what we're actually doing. It goes on to talk in immediate sections after that about mutual agreement of the parties that are part to a contract. And it talks about the mutual agreement of moving from an agricultural preserve contract into an open space contract and or a agricultural, it's an easement, an agricultural conservation easement program, which, you know, we have some of those in the county also. And they're talking about these avenues of changing from one contract to another. And it implies to me in that section they've changed from may in their recommendation to shall. The state law says may, and it has to be upon mutual agreement is what it says in that particular section. And it also says it has to cover the exact ownership that was in the agricultural preserve contract. It really doesn't lend itself to adding another piece to a contract. One of our biggest problems in this whole program is that everybody is thinking that an agricultural preserve and an agricultural contract is the same thing. It is not. And in many jurisdictions where I've done some of this work, a preserve is established for a large section of the county, and then the county says, okay, if you meet the qualifications, we will consider your request for establishing a contract. And it doesn't go through establishing a new preserve every time a piece of property comes in. This was a simple way to do it and a way it's done in a lot of jurisdictions. We don't do it that way. We haven't updated our thinking on it. Another area is that the state also says that there is an implied, or not implied, but a definite definition for what is agricultural land. And that is presumed to be, or actually is, 10 acres in prime agricultural soils or activities or production, and 40 acres in what we would call non-prime. There's no such thing as rangeland. You either have prime agricultural soils and contracts, or you have non-prime. Those are the two. So we can't get from here to there